So, hi, Julie. Love the Taco Bell for you. Love that. We love to hear it, love to see it. Welcome to Blerd Roundtable. Oh my god. This is tragic. My straw has a hole in it.
I'm watching us. Okay, I understand that.
Yeah.
Oh, that is truly traumatic.
It's a lot. Nachos with bean dip. Beautiful. Love that. Thank you all for coming to Blerd Roundtable. We are starting a new segment with a new guest. Grace, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi. Sure. My name is Grace. I'm at Bucky's.xwife on TikTok. Love saying it out loud. I'm 22. I think women are really cool and hot. And I don't think they've ever done anything atrocious ever.
That
So I'm excited for this.
is correct, as far as I'm concerned. And that is the premise of our Good for Her stream. This is a stream where we have we've taken it upon ourselves to compile a list of dozens of fictional women, and we are going to explain why they didn't do anything wrong. Things that are important to note before we start the stream. Also, I'm Amelia. Hi. I'm usually here. Not always here, but usually here. Momo and Heigl have things to do, as we all do at different times. A couple things to note. We made this list. Yeah, I've seen some of the things. Grace has seen some of the things. We might not have both seen everything. Doesn't matter. I know for a fact I didn't bother to look up anything about them. We're just going based off memories. We are just going based off vibes.
Not a single thing.
Yeah, so, and I just randomized the list. I felt like that would make the most sense to go through. So,
That's good.
Are you ready?
I'm so ready for this.
Okay, first up, we have Eris from Sinbad and The Legend of the Seven Seas. Okay, well, let me tell you. So Sinbad and the Legend of the Seven Seas, we're going to do a little plot synopsis. It is a movie about this guy, Sinbad. He's best friends with, like, a prince or something, and they were good, and then Sinbad someone said she's an evil goddess. Is she? She's a chaotic goddess. So
Evil's a strong word.
Yeah, Sinbad becomes a pirate and does shit. Anyways, Eris is like, hey, Sinbad, I think she wants him to steal something for her and it betray his friend or whatever, and he ends up saving the day and falling in love with a different girl. Anyways, she's a god of chaos, and she just causes chaos because humans are stupid and dumb, especially the men ones.
They are.
So I don't think she did anything wrong. I also think she's very hot. She's also one of the
She's very hot.
She's very hot, and this is how I found out I was gay when I was a kid. So...
Oh, gay awakening.
Yeah, gay awakening.
Yeah,
Sinbad is stupid, and also I just feel like we can't really judge gods with the same, human puny mindset. Like, they're just fucking around for millennia. Like, okay, they topple a couple ships, or they send the ships into sirens. Like, the sirens have to eat. The sirens deserve to drown people.
Right.
Like,
it's the cycle of life. People don't respect it.
Yeah. And I don't remember most of the movie, but so we are starting out strong with Eris. I don't know who's next. Even though I put this together.
Very hot. 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10.
I like that it's randomized. 10 out of 10.
Yeah, which is funny because some of them were, like, related to each other and they're, like, split up. So we'll just see. Tia Dalma.
Oh!
Calypso.
Yes. Calypso. I just have a very strong memory of her in my mind. I don't know any of her lines or even what she really did.
Mm-hmm. I can tell you what she did. She did nothing wrong, is what she did. She got her heart broken by a tentacle man, and I feel like she handled the situation with grace and maturity. I feel like she helped out Jack with the jar of earth. She didn't have to do that. I feel like she could have very easily murdered everyone all of the time ever, and she didn't do that.
And she actively chose not. Even if she had done it, though, justified.
And she also turned into, fuck Jack, he is a colonizer. She also turned into a giant being and then became thousands of tiny crabs.
Yes.
So, like, what did she do wrong? Like, listen, also, Chocolate, I thank you for being active in the chat. Like, literally, how are you white and a pirate? Anyone, like, and also, I don't want this to be an echo chamber, right? So if you guys disagree, if you in the chat disagree with us, you can voice your opinions and then we will tell you how you're wrong. But
yeah, you will be wrong if you disagree. Just know that. But
yeah,
you can say what you want.
And I think we also mentioned that she's really hot. So, like, again, literally Calypso did nothing wrong.
Nothing wrong. I can't think of one thing.
I can't think of a single thing. Jack did so many things wrong. Will Turner, he was good, but also he was annoying.
Orlando Bloom. Yeah.
Yeah. Because sometimes he did do things wrong. Elizabeth Turner, not on this list, but she also has not done anything wrong. Like, we just want to clarify that.
Never. Yeah.
Maybe the only person in the series who had any idea what was going on. Okay.
She's the Pirate King.
Yeah.
So how could she have done anything wrong if she's the king?
Literally busting down gender stereotypes left and right. Talk about a girl boss.
Really? I wanted to be her as a kid so bad. I was like, Pirate King.
I think if Elizabeth Swann is girl boss, Calypso is definitely gaslight. I'm not sure who's gatekeeping.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Okay. Are we ready for the next one?
The other female characters. Yeah, for sure. So excited.
Okay.
Oh, yes. Yes.
So this is Birds of Prey. Originally it was Harley Quinn, but it is also each of the Birds of Prey individually.
All of the women.
Is there anyone you want to start out with? Because literally none of them did anything wrong at all.
I think I'm going to start off with the iconic Margot Robbie Harley Quinn. Like, I just will never be over her in any sense. None of these women. But, yeah. The outfits, just everything, really. The roller skating, the pet hyena.
Literally save those hyenas from, like, living with a drug lord. Savior, saint, iconic. Kind heart, Mother Teresa over here, but less problematic. She could have killed so many people and she chose not to. Like with the police station, did nothing. She is an excellent caregiver, breaking the legs of assholes, and again, literally has done nothing wrong.
Nothing wrong. She took care of that kid. She bought the kid. She fed the kid.
Isn't Harley a villain?
And let the kid stay in her home.
Yeah. See, Chocolate brings up, isn't Harley a villain in the comics? I would raise you. I would wager that Harley is misunderstood. Also, it depends on which comics run you're reading. And anytime Harley is just objectively a villain, that is because it is created by a misogynist who hates women. So if you disagree with us, you do hate women,
it's true. It was written by a man.
Yeah. So yeah, 10 out of 10, literally.
Get to the back of the line.
Yeah, we don't want it here. I would like to speak about Huntress for a moment, because...
And then there's... Yes, Huntress. Well, didn't Huntress's actor also play in Sky High?
Yes. Oh my god, Gwen also did nothing wrong. Yeah. As the Technomancer? Yes.
Nothing wrong.
Nothing wrong. She was literally doing her own shit. Got turned into a baby. A baby had to be brought up by her dumbass henchmen and still managed to grow. That society, the superhero society that she had to live with, that she had to endure, that she had to deal with, that was
major girl boss.
That was so problematic. There was all this weird superhero hero caste system that they start you out in high school. Who here wants to be held accountable for how dumb they were in high school? Absolutely not. She was doing what she thought was right. And again, didn't kill people, turned them into babies, and she was going to raise them in a loving, inclusive way. Why are we upset here?
They wanted us to think she was the villain, and I never understood. I was like, it feels to me, if someone was like, do you want me to turn you into a baby and let you try again?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
And
round 2. Yeah.
It's also, now I'm just thinking about Sky High lore, which I know isn't the intention of this, but I'm also confused because she very clearly seemed to know what was up, like what happened to her, like, and felt those feelings very strongly. Yeah. And I don't know if her, the dad guy raised her like that, because I'm also just like, wait, as babies, wouldn't they all just, like, once they got older, remember all this shit? And then it's like, okay, which life was better? Which one do you prefer?
Oh, yeah, I forgot they were, like sentient babies, like, conscious being babies of what was happening.
Yeah.
That's an interesting point.
Yeah. So, yeah, honorable mention.
Next week, Sky High lore.
Right, next in Sky High lore. But, yeah, back to Huntress. Huntress also did nothing wrong. She was absolutely traumatized, barely got out alive. Did she kill people? Yes. Did they deserve it?
Maybe some.
Maybe. I feel like that's not really our call to make. And I feel like they
killed her family. Or at least aided in it.
Yeah.
No.
Okay, hold on, I'm refreshing my cache. Hello, Barnaby. Okay. Yeah, so they killed...
keeps shitting itself. Very not girl boss.
Oh my god. The misogyny in the internet right now, in the Wi-Fi network, is palpable, and frankly, it's disgusting.
Yeah.
Do we need to switch to Discord, or are you good?
It's homophobic. No, I'm good.
Okay. Yeah, also, she was literally only killing people who directly led to her family's death. They were criminals. Oh? They were rude to her, frankly. And, like, I don't believe in capital punishment by the state, but I do believe, like, if someone murders your entire family, maybe you get to take a swing or two at them. Oh, no. We've lost Grace. This can't just be me talking about it. If it was just me by myself, that'd be very problematic. Okay. We're just gonna vibe. No, not really. But I would like Grace back here. I like hanging out with Grace. Are you back? Okay, I see. Nope, gone again. Yeah, I think another important thing, too, about Huntress, and all of the birds of prey, really, is that they are so pretty. And I think that's something we really need to keep in mind, and that's an energy that we'll really want to be mindful of. Okay. Oh, your video's frozen for me, but I can hear you.
There we go. Is it working?
Kind of, yeah. It's like you're dropping frames, but the audio's coming through.
Okay. God, why am I paying for Wi-Fi if it's not gonna work?
I don't know. I think we're good. I think we're working. Yeah. I think if we keep doing this, yeah. Oh no, we did it too much. God damn.
Oh. Yes.
Okay, I think you're back.
God, why am I having so many issues today?
I don't know. The vibes are off. Okay, but yeah, Huntress did nothing wrong. If people murder your entire family, you should be allowed at least a few swings at them. And I feel like just a nice, quick death. There could have been worse ways to do it. Black Canary.
Oh, I love her. And she sings well. She has a good voice.
She's a good voice. Literally a saint. Black Canary this entire time was just trying to mind her own goddamn business. She's just trying to take care of her shit, do her stuff. She wasn't trying to make waves, wasn't trying to ruffle feathers. She was just like, I know what I'm doing. I'm staying in my own lane. And people kept dragging her into shit. And if other people start shit, you're allowed to end it. Did Black Canary do anything wrong? No, she saved that child. Black Canary is the only one of this entire group with the brain cell, except for the detective. She kind of had one, but she also just has way too, little impulse control. And she's a cop, so.
She did.
Former
Jesus.
cop, but
And
still.
I know the cop thing did turn me off. I was like, is this a redemption arc? Working with these people.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Still girl boss.
Yeah. Also, Cassandra Cain literally did nothing wrong. She was just trying to get by. Little orphan girl, just trying to make her way in the world, trying to pickpocket someone. Look, you go and pickpocket someone.
Stealing
it's not
from men.
Stealing from men. Stealing from rich, evil people is, like, morally allowed. It's not even wrong. Second, it's not her fault she happened to steal from Ewan McGregor, you know? She didn't know that she was stealing from him when she stole from some random dude. And that guy, if you're working for a criminal empire and a fucking, like, 13-year-old girl, or however old she is, 14, I don't know, like, is able to pickpocket you,
maybe you should be better.
Maybe you should be better. Maybe you should be better. Yeah. That's most of the birds of prey. What's next on this list?
10 out of 10.
Shaolin. Hey, Grace, you want to know something? Do you want to know what Shaolin did?
What?
Nothing wrong.
Nothing wrong. I actually was gonna guess that. That's what was gonna guess.
Oh, okay. Would you like to?
She. I think she did nothing wrong because she escaped her toxic household. She waited for her brother for a few. Like, I wouldn't have waited. She waited for him.
Oh yeah, this is from Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Seven Rings. So slight spoilers for that.
So spoilers if you haven't seen it.
So if
she doesn't kill him when she beats him up. Easily could have, I'm convinced. Easily. He left her ass with their abusive father. He told her he's coming back in a few days, and he just left and just did not look back to become a fucking valet in, like, where were they? I don't remember where this movie was in. Somewhere on the West Coast. I don't know. Yeah.
Anyway.
San Francisco.
Sure. That sounds right.
That's a place.
That's a place. It's on the West Coast. Good enough for me. Yeah, he put her through so much shit. Her dad, because apparently after living for like 1,500 or 2,000 or like 1,000 years or whatever, still couldn't manage to get through his thick skull that women could do things, even though his wife was the one who kicked his ass and was the only person in the world who could, like, best him in combat. He was still like, oh no, daughter. Like, I don't know what happened in the 90s, if he was just like, if he watched too many sitcoms with the kids and he forgot that, like, women exist outside of that. So, like, the fact that she built herself up from nothing. What Sean did with nothing, with a head start, he was older, he had more of an idea, and he was taking his own initiative, was just fuck around for a decade. She built her own girl boss criminal empire, and then at the end, again, spoilers, when he threw it all away, she fixed it. She was like, actually, you know what? You know what's not good? A power vacuum. You know what you don't want? You don't want these dumbass evil men taking over what her father left behind. What if there was someone who was better, who could keep that power vacuum from forming? She saved the day. God knows who could have done that. We could have had another, like, Mandarin situation where it's just some white guy appropriating Asian culture again.
God.
It's not appropriation when it's your own culture. And I think it's really funny because I keep seeing people hinting at her being, like, a future villain in Marvel. And I don't know if you know this, Grace. I don't know if you, like, watch the stream or anything, or if you know, like, me, Momo, or Heigl. This is a Tony Stark slander place. This is...
Oh, yes.
Okay.
I did not know that, but I love to slander Tony Stark. I get a lot of shit for it all the time when I do it.
Perfect. So. Well, you're right, so I'm not really sure where that's coming from. Yeah, safe space. Here's the thing. Tony motherfucking Stark spent his entire life profiteering off of wars and the destabilization of other countries. And as he continued to be an Avenger, as he continued to fuck up with Ultron and everything else, he continued war profiteering, like, this entire time. And you're telling me, because Shaolin decided to clean up the mess of other people, I'm supposed to think she's a bad guy? Why? Because there's graffiti on this, like, monastery? I don't know. She literally saved the world. She saved the world. She has done less bad thing, like, is objectively a better person than Tony Stark by every calculable metric. I'm just like,
it's true.
Good for her.
Good for her. And the thing is too, I feel like when you look at it in the overall perspective, right? If you took Shang-Chi out of the, equation but left her, she could have saved everyone by herself.
Literally.
But had she not been there the whole time, would it have gone as smoothly? Methinks not.
Methinks not.
I suspect not.
They'd have died.
Methinks not. Definitely.
Yeah.
10 out of 10. Never done anything wrong ever in her life and never will.
Correct. Jennifer, I don't know her last name. Jennifer from Jennifer's Body.
Body.
A classic.
Jennifer's Mind.
Jennifer's everything. Yes. The first time I saw this movie, I was at a party at someone's apartment in college, and it was one of those times where I was invested. It was a moment for me, and other people are like playing beer pong, and I was like, shut the fuck up with the ping pong balls. What the hell is going on the screen? And it was like, it's just like on TV or something. So they're like, I don't know what movie that is. And I'm like, no, we need to pay attention to this.
Everybody
this is
stop.
Art. This is art.
Megan Fox is kissing a girl. Yeah.
Yeah. Like,
I saw this when I was very young, and I think it did have some sort of impact on me as a child.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
As it should.
As it should.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think my favorite line from the movie is she's like, I'm not killing people, I'm killing boys. And
it's such an iconic line.
Such an iconic line. Good. And I don't want to advocate for murder. I don't want you guys going away from this stream and being like, I'm going to go murder people. Don't do that. I'm just saying, if I were killed, sacrificed in a forest, and a demon took over my body, and I had to deal with high school boys, teenage boys, maybe we would see some of the same conclusions. Maybe, like, she was just trying to be a good friend. She was trying to be whatever needed.
I can't make her not wrong.
Like, literally, like, what am I supposed to feel, like, bad? She didn't deserve any of this shit. She didn't do anything wrong. She just was minding her own goddamn business, and men did this. She got revenge. Not even a revenge. Justice.
It was justification for what had happened to her.
Yeah.
Valid.
Also, Megan Fox is really hot.
Literally, I was about to say this. That adds on to it. Not being her fault.
And I'm also trying to think of, and also, like, in a very real sense, like, how much shit Megan Fox has had to put up with in the film industry for being a hot
insane
woman is ridiculous. She is too hot for Machine Gun Kelly, and honestly, that's a whole nother conversation, because we can't even get into that now, because we'll be talking all night. If I had it, nope.
Yeah.
Not even going there.
You won't even touch
that. Literally.
That's
another PowerPoint. Literally the entire movie, I was like, good for her. Like, am I supposed to feel bad?
She's the protagonist.
She's a little upset, and she's dealing with her emotions. Like, we stan. I'm going to turn this over to you. I know this is your area of expertise.
I think that if you are taken from your home as a child and tortured and brainwashed into your adulthood, you're justified in most things that follow that. So, I mean, the killing of people and all of that was all men brainwashing her and forcing her to do those things. So, was that really her fault? Come to the conclusion, it is not.
Wholeheartedly
very
agree.
Simple. It's very clean cut. She does, go and work for S.H.I.E.L.D., which I'm like, BFF, why? But she turns it around, Again, men were the ones who ruined S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah. And I can't help but
not
think
on her.
This whole thing with Good for Her is we are talking about why people's actions were valid and why they deserved better. Very few people Not very few. Actually, a lot of people in the MCU deserve better. But Natasha Romanoff, Scarlett Johansson aside, Natasha Romanoff deserved so much better, especially when you consider the fact that she was raised and brainwashed to be a killer, and then she continued working. Like, you can't just decide to not be, like, a spy. Like, she tried to turn it around and work for the good guy. And at fucking Vormir, she was the one who died. And you know what Clint did after that? You know what Clint did when he lost everything? He became a serial killer. He just went around murdering shit. Like, just like well, there's no law, so I guess I can just murder people now. She would never. I forget the thing is married. She would never.
And she just did good. Oh my God. God, that's another PowerPoint too. Yeah. It's disrespectful and it's ugly.
Clint is Hawkeye.
Unforgivable what they did to her. Yeah, Clint Barton, Hawkeye boo, but boo.
Really disappointed when I found out he was going to be in the Hawkeye series, not going to lie. I hope they kill him off. He deserves it.
I think he's not going to be there for a long time.
I hope not.
We're manifesting. Hawkeye not in his own show.
Yeah. Yeah, also, Natasha just had a really rough time. Also, like, okay, picture this. You are minding your own business. You're a S.H.I.E.L.D. agent. You do assassin stuff, intrigue, spy stuff, coolness. This guy, some alien claiming to be a god, you've heard about, like, things, you've been briefed, comes to the Earth, kills 80 people in 3 days, and you're trying to deal with his bullshit. Then, no, Hawkeye doesn't have powers, okay? Hawkeye just has a bow and arrow. That is the worst. It's like Hawkeye, like not Hawkeye. But then there is an alien, and there's a fucking wormhole. A fucking wormhole opens up in New York, and these giant alien things start invading the city. They go around, they're huge, they're destructive. In. We don't have, like, they don't work out. And what do you get? And S.H.I.E.L.D. is like, here's a pistol. Go for it.
Here's a gun.
Here's a gun. Like, are you telling me?
She's still the one who closes the portal.
Yeah, and she still gets all that shit done.
She still saves the day. She
still saves the day. Because, like, S.H.I.E.L.D. has so much alien technology, you cannot tell me that they couldn't have given her a plasma ray. You know there's a plasma ray somewhere. And it's like, do you want this now?
Coulson had one before Loki, like, stabbed him in the Avengers. Like, was that big... Yeah.
Yeah.
He said, here's a gun. Good luck, girl. Good luck. They were never nice to her.
They were never nice to her. And it hurts my soul. And then they murdered her. And then Disney on the way out was like, and fuck you too, ScarJo. Which, like, again, I, as a person, don't really vibe with Scarlett Johansson. But, like, the fact that they were like, this is the last movie in your contract, and we're just going to fuck over your earnings because we can. We're not going to do it with the other movies coming out. Because it's like, what are we going to do? Like, what is she going to do? See them? They're going to settle out of court.
And she did.
Yeah.
Yep.
But it was just like...
that was...
Like,
don't it's just a big fuck you to Natasha Romanoff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Whole way through.
It just boiled over.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. This is from... What is this from?
This is from Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Yes, but I have not watched, like... all of it consistently.
I feel like the two of us, like, every time we talk or text, I will get to this woman in a moment. It's like, I desperately want you to watch something, and you desperately want me to watch something, and we should just figure that out. So,
It's the duality of man.
The duality of man. I will tell you guys what happened to our girl Hama over here. So, if Avatar: The Last Airbender lore, I'm going to assume you're generally familiar with it. She was in the Southern Water Tribe. After the air nomads were wiped out, the firebenders decided to start rounding up and kidnapping the waterbenders from the Southern Water Tribe to, like, weaken their society because they couldn't penetrate the Northern Water Tribe defenses. So, kidnapped a bunch of waterbenders. Cool. Hama ends up in jail. And because they're waterbenders, they can do water magic. They had to lock down any access they get to anything with moisture. Because if you use water, if they have water in a cup, they can use it to get themselves out. Okay. So, she was in jail. And she realized there were little mice that ran around the jail. And, mice are made of like flesh and stuff, which has blood in it. Blood has water. And she learned how to blood bend the blood in the mice to move them around.
The rats!
Yeah. And then she got really good at that. She started testing it out on humans, on the guards who were like at her place, and used it to get herself free by bending the blood in their body. Some people would call this a gross perversion of human bodily autonomy. But also, they were literally doing genocide. So it's kind of like... And then she broke out, she's in the Fire Nation. She's in the Fire Nation for a while. And here's the thing. Here's where I get to the part where I think she did nothing wrong. She chills out in this city, and there's this, there's this legend about the full moon. Oh, she can only blood bend on the full moon because that's when water bending is the strongest, and that's when she has the biggest connection. So... people start disappearing on full moons, and they're like, the woods are haunted. It turns out she's bloodbending people away, putting them in a cave. And then Katara fights her.
As a snack or something?
No, not even as a snack. She just has them in a cave, and there's tons of people in the cave, and I'm like, okay, if she's bloodbending like 1 or 2 people every full moon, and there's like a couple dozen. She's been doing this for a few years, and there aren't dead bodies in the cave, so she's just feeding them. So she just kidnapped them like they did to her people. And it's like, are these people technically innocent? I don't know. Are any of us technically innocent? But then when, the gang figures out that like, oh, Hama is the one who is doing this, they confront her, and she's a bloodbender. So she's like, bloodbend, Katara, and I'll let you go or whatever. And Katara's like, no, I don't want to be like you. And then she's like, well, I'm going to make your friends die if you don't learn how to bloodbend. Then Katara bloodbends. It ends up being really good for Katara. It's a very useful skill she uses later. So 1 point in that column. 2, they put her back in jail. They put Hama back in jail. Hama, who spent her entire life fighting against the Fire Nation, fighting for her freedom, just the one thing, realizing that she is before Katara, she was the last, she thought she was the last waterbender from her entire tribe that was just getting absolutely demolished by the Fire Nation. And they just put her ass back in jail. No therapy, no talking, no working through that, no trauma recovery. She deserved better. She didn't even murder people. I think she might have killed the guards, but okay, it's a TV series. You're allowed to kill guards when you're trying to break out of jail. That's just a given. They're henchmen.
No one cares about it. They don't have families.
They don't.
Who cares?
It's just part of the territory. So that is why Hama did nothing
wrong.
If
someone had genocided my where I was from, I would be doing worse. It good for her. That's why it's called that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, literally, they could have sent her back to the southern water tribe or the northern one. They could have given her political time. They put her back in a Fire Nation prison. That was the one thing. It's oh, is this the source of your trauma? Here you go. There's more.
Yeah. Head empty, not much going on.
Yeah. She did nothing wrong.
But yeah, she did nothing wrong. Girl boss.
Okay, this was one you wanted to add to the list, and I do wholeheartedly
Have you seen
agree.
Ocean's 8?
I have seen Ocean's 8.
I was worried.
No. I did watch it because I am gay. So
Right.
Yeah, no, she definitely was feeding people in the cave.
A queer film.
This was a queer film. I don't remember any of the characters' names.
Nope, me neither.
Except I know Sandra Bullock's character was named Debbie Ocean. And Rihanna's character was named 8-Ball.
Okay, so Sandra Bullock, 8-Ball. Okay.
Those are the only
I don't remember Kate Blanchett.
She was just
Yeah.
so gay. That's all I remember.
Yeah.
And she had amazing suits.
Gay and hot, and they all dressed to the tens.
And I think a really important part.
And they were smart enough to pull this off.
Yeah. Also, the thing about ocean movies in general, but specifically Ocean's 8, you cannot make me feel bad for people who are stealing diamonds that were pillaged or purchased via slave labor, through exploitation, through like ravaging the entire, like, you can't make me feel bad about people stealing from rich people.
Right.
Like, I saw this thing that was
it's free to take.
It's free.
Yeah.
It's literally, it's just there. Like,
take it back.
This is one way. Someone said, like, real life should have fantasy rules. Like, in fantasy games, if you have a dragon and they have a giant horde, you can just kill the dragon and take all their stuff and you put it back into the economy. Whereas in real life, they just hoard the wealth. Nothing wrong. No one at the Met was getting fired for that. They couldn't pin it on any of them. The only person they did pin it on was, he deserved it. He was kind of a dick, so he deserves to go to federal prison for that, I guess. Like, nothing wrong here.
I agree. And the thing is, I like the fantasy analogy too, because when you kill the dragon and take the dragon's hoard, you don't get in trouble for killing the dragon. It's like, oh, well, good for you. You killed the dragon and now you successfully completed that task.
Yeah. And, like, also, you don't have to pay taxes because they're like, you killed a dragon. We're not going to enforce that. You would kill us.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, that's the thing. I think that if you can go through all of the trouble of figuring out how to steal, like, diamonds from the Met Gala, from the Met during the Met Gala, maybe you keep the diamonds. Like, what's going to happen as soon as the gala's over? Like, they're just going to send them back to, like, some... Like, they're just going to go in some rich man's private collection.
Locked facility.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, nothing wrong. Good for all of them, frankly. I'm glad they stole more stuff than we thought they were going to steal.
Literally.
12
You should be able to keep it. If you can get it, you can keep it. 12 out of 10 did nothing wrong. No crimes committed in Ocean's 8, even though it is labeled as a heist film, which kind of insinuates that it would be a crime. But yeah, no crimes committed.
No crimes.
Very good for them.
Love it.
Aspirational.
And maybe...
Oh, yes.
The good for her that, like, coined, I think, the phrase good for her in the popular lexicon, or at least led to its proliferation in social media and pop culture. Danny, whose last name I forgot, Danny Midsummer. I hated when this was...
Danny Midsummer.
Listen, I'm a Tumblr veteran, so people's last names are the show that they were on. Danny literally did nothing wrong. The entire movie is just Danny getting emotionally abused in more sinister and less noticeable ways and being gaslight the shit out of. And I hated when this was trending on TikTok because people were like, guys, it's not a good for her. Like, she's in a bad situation. It's like, yeah, she's in a bad situation. We knew that. We know. But, like, God. What happened in the movie? Here's what happened in the movie. Do you want to talk? I'm talking a lot, so I want to take away from you if you want to be passionate about Midsummer.
No, go ahead.
Okay.
I have thoughts about Midsummer, but you can explain the movie. I feel like you'd be better explaining the movie because I'll just get caught up in all the thoughts. And
I'll give the plot synopsis, you work through your thoughts, and then you give them. So basically what happens, a bunch of people in grad school, including her, at the beginning of her movie, starts with her sister committing suicide, right? And then she's dealing with that. And her boyfriend's like, maybe get over it. And he's doing his grad research in this town in Sweden that has this sort of midsummer festival because one of the guys in grad school is doing it on, like, pagan rituals and stuff. And he kind of copies his grad school thing. And he's like, and his friend, Pele, is like, hey, Danny, come up here. So they go up there. And, you know, it's like out in the middle of nowhere. No one really knows they're there. It's super bright and fun. It's a cult. It's like a white supremacist cult. So she's there. She's having a great time because she's a blonde white girl. And she's, like, high all of the time because they're kind of just giving them stuff to make them high. Shit happens. People start dying one by one. There's this whole murder ritual. There's this whole May festival. She becomes the May Queen. By then, most of her friends are dead except for her boyfriend. Also, her boyfriend is a piece of shit and was cheating on her and cheated on her in the cult. With another girl to impregnate them because of weird cultish ritual stuff. And
that was so fucked up.
So fucked. Like, so fucked up. We're just synopsis. We're just doing the synopsis. I'm not even getting into those details. And then basically they're like, okay, it's part of this festival we have to do. Someone has to die. Do you want this random guy to die? Or do you want your boyfriend to die? You know, your boyfriend who just cheated on you and impregnated this other girl and is mean and was gaslighting you and rude to you when your family died. Which one do you want? And she was like, kill my boyfriend, put him in a bear suit. So they did. And now she's a part of the cult because, like, what is she gonna do? Her entire support system from her house, from her home, absolutely cut off. She's in the middle of nowhere in fucking Sweden. Hours drive from the nearest city that would have a train that would get her to an airport. That would get her to a train to an airport to, like, back to the United States. She has nothing in her home life. It was very stressful. And the thing is, the cult, like, offered her, like, hey, what if you just did some drugs and also maybe, like, had a support system? And so they offer support system, you know, love bombing cult stuff. And so it's like, yeah, was it super emotionally abusive? Yes, but also Danny did nothing wrong and she deserves a break. Okay.
She deserves a break. And I, you know, when she made that choice to, because also when her sister killed herself, she was like, I'm taking the whole family with me. Bye. And took her parents.
Oh, yeah.
And it was disgusting and gruesome and so terrible.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, she really gained something and she had to leave all of that stuff behind, which she did because she sacrificed her boyfriend and then all their friends ended up getting murdered by the cult. And I think it was just very symbolic and very full circle for her. And she finally got that connection she wanted that her boyfriend and friends did not provide for her. Or I guess Pele did, or he offered it to her.
Yeah.
I thought she was correct. Correct choice.
And this scene specifically that's on there is from this, like, crying scene where, like, she starts crying and everyone starts crying with her and they're all doing all this emotional shit. And it's like a whole moment in the movie. And it's, like, technically, I wouldn't call it a horror movie. I would call it a thrill. Oh, wait, no, there's actually a lot of body horror. Never mind. Thriller. Yeah, that's the thing. Who would find Danny? Because no one was looking for her. No one knew where she went. But, like, so this was a big moment, and the other moment is when Pele's talking to her, and he's, like, sowing the seeds of doubt in the relationship. He's not wrong. Where he's talking about the girlfriend, he's like, do you feel held by him? And I'm like, I feel like if you watch this movie, that line made me think, it's like, that is what you need in a person. But, I mean, there are other people disappeared, too, is the thing. There was other grad students who were there who disappeared. But, like, this isn't like, hi, I'm telling my parents exactly where I'm going at this time. This was very much like, you know, like,
very isolated.
She just disappeared. She just disappeared off the face of the earth. Like, there was no one in her life, which is sad. And that was part of the thing, is she was so isolated that she was vulnerable to this sort of group coming in and, like, you know, picking her up and being like, hey, do you want to join our little cult? You can dance in flowers.
Join our cult?
We have some fun drugs.
Hell yeah. Lena Luthor. I have not seen this show, but I want to so bad because Morgana was a part of my bisexual awakening. Very gay for her, very, like, wow. And people would simp over, like, Merlin and Arthur, and I just never got it. I was like, what about her?
Literally, Morgana is right there. Have a lot of feelings about Katie McGrath. Like, all of them positive. I watched Supergirl a few years ago. I only watched the first few seasons because eventually I was like, this isn't gonna happen. The Supercore thing. But it was so, like, listen, again, I've been on Tumblr for quite some time. I've watched Supernatural. I've watched all of I was there. I was never, like, a super Hulock person, but I was witnessing it. I was
there.
I was following it in the trenches.
Yeah.
I know what is audiences making inferences that aren't there and what is super gay. And Lena Luthor is super gay. It was like look
at the picture.
I was like, you wrote a lesbian. Not even bi. Like, she dates men. I was like, she does not, like, this is a lesbian. What's her name? Kara?
This is a lesbian.
Kara is bi. Yeah. But, like...
Kara.
Yeah. main character, blonde girl. I've never seen so much a show that just dangled it right in front of you. The chemistry was great. Also, Lena Luthor, the thing I liked about Lena Luthor, she's like Lex Luthor if he wasn't like a dick, because she, like, everything she did had practical reasons. You know, she was actually trying to do what's best. And not in that way when, you know, guys are like, no, I know what's best, I'm gonna save the city. No, she was actually, like, doing good shit. Like, actively trying to be a good person in her family's name. Literally the best Luthor. And she got so much shit, and so many things that were out of her control kept coming on her. And the fact that the one person she trusted turned out to be, Kara turned out to be, like, Supergirl and didn't tell her, and there's, like, all that doubt and mistrust and miscommunication, lack of communication. Lena deserved better.
I need to see the show now.
You should watch the show. I don't know how many seasons it's on right now.
Through.
Yeah. I love how we're just each like, oh yeah, I'll watch that show. I don't know. Eventually, maybe.
I need one day, eventually.
One day. Ravenna.
Ah!
This was your edition. I have seen Snow White and the Huntsman, but I'd love for you to share your thoughts.
The thing is, I think this came out when I was like 13 or 14 or something. I don't know. I don't remember the year, but
I want to guess 2012.
I remember rooting for her.
Yeah.
2012? I was like 12, 13.
Hold on.
I'm thinking.
Yeah, literally the only reason I know that is because I know Breath of Life was on the soundtrack, and I know that came out in 2012 for whatever reason.
And you were like, yes.
Connections.
Yeah, as soon as I saw Charlize Theron, I was taken over, and I was like, no, she's not the villain. Not to me. This was like my first, I don't think she's the villain, because growing up as a kid, you're like, oh, that's the villain, and that's the whatever. But I saw Charlize Theron as Ravenna. I was like, she's not the villain. I don't care what she's doing. I don't care if she's trying to suck out Kristen Stewart's soul. I do not care. I think she's justified.
Yeah, the movie was Snow White and the Huntsman. It was the Snow White with Kristen Stewart, and I forgot who the Huntsman was. Was it Chris Hemsworth?
It was Chris Hemsworth.
Yeah. What a forgettable role for him.
Like, yeah, very much so. Kristen Stewart and Charlize Theron kind of.
Yeah, I mean. So it was a Snow White story, and she was the, wicked stepmother. That's the thing I find so hard about a lot of these movies, especially where the evil stepmom is, like, the one we're rooting against, is that every time they're like, these are very valid reasons for why the stepmom wants to fuck everybody up and do her own shit. And also, all of the king, like, they're like, oh, she has an army that's conquering everything. Yeah. She's in charge. That's what do you think kingdoms did? You conquer shit.
The point.
If you're not conquering shit, you literally don't need a king. That's the whole point, is to unify them all so they pay taxes so you can conquer shit so you get more gold. Like, you're the one who had a monarchy. And another, like, consistent... Oops. I'll wait for her to come back. Well, I'll just say to you. Oh? Okay. Anyways, I was saying another consistent thing about so many good for you stories is that... Are you back? So many good for you stories are like, wow, you are pointing out something that is incredibly valid and wrong about society. But we didn't like the way you did it because you were being too mean. They're like, we don't like the way...
Wait, you can see me? I can't see you.
You can't see me? Ah. Okay, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Happening?
Oh, no.
I can see and hear you. Wait, you guys can see and hear me?
Yeah.
I'm literally by myself.
Weird.
Let me...
Technical difficulties. Happens to the best of us. Yeah.
Are we girl bossing?
We are girl bossing.
Okay.
I need to recopy your... Hold on. You're doing fine on your end. I just need to do something on my end. Okay. There we go. Yeah, I was like...
Is it good? Okay.
I think we're good. So many of these movies are like, yeah, you're pointing out something is really fucked up and messed up about this system, but like, we don't like the way you went about it, so you're a bad guy now. Also, Carly from Falcon and the Winter Soldier also should be on this list. She's not in here, but she should be on this list. God. Because literally everything the like red, whatever, I forget their name, everything they were like fighting for was actually correct. They just blew up a building. And like, that was it.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, they did a little domestic terrorism, okay? But the fact that after all of that, everything is just going to go back to the status quo after that entire series pisses me off, and they deserve better. Yeah, society doesn't like older women, but speaking for Venna, also, like, I feel like in movies and just the way we interpret, like, especially, you know, women characters, like, trying to get youth forever, we picture it as a very vain and selfish pursuit. Now, arguably it is selfish if you're, like, trying to, like, kill people or, like, you know, use magic hair. So I will say Gothel did do things wrong, so that's why she's not here. But, like, I think there is something especially with, like, femininity and the way we view women and, like, femme-presenting people with their worth, it, like, is inextricable from how desirable they are to a male audience, and part of that is looking young and looking pretty indefinitely, and that goes into all of these beauty standards and all of that shit. So it's like, did she do anything wrong?
No. Absolutely not.
Yeah.
10 out of 10.
10 out of 10.
Once again.
Catra.
I don't know this one either.
This is from
but
She-Ra.
I've seen Mads post about this one. Okay.
This is from She-Ra. Catra's our favorite disaster lesbian. The thing about She-Ra...
Love a disaster lesbian.
Yeah. The thing about She-Ra and the thing about Catra's character arc that I really think is really... we don't get until the later seasons, like arguably the 5th season, is when it's really driven home the point that Catra was in love with Adora the entire time. And Adora and Catra would do anything for Adora because that was the person she loved, and Catra would do anything for herself because she believes in self-preservation. And Adora would always do anything for the greater good. And that is where the difficulties came when Adora chose the greater good over Catra. Catra felt like she was choosing other people over her, like over their relationship. And of course, like, not dealing with those romantic things because not being certain that those feelings would be reciprocated. And also there's like a battle, and also thinking that Adora just left for something bigger and better. That
tragic lesbian love story.
Tragic lesbian love story. Like. We got a happy ending though. And also like the fact that, and like, if you've watched the series and then if you watch it again, which I've watched it several times, long story, but in like from Catra's perspective, you're like, no, actually, with all the information Catra had and with the perspective constantly being in Adora's shadow, how much fault Adora was at that for that is kind of, it's like a touchy subject because again, they were both kids and they were both raised that way. You don't really know better until you get older. But like the environment that she had in the Horde and how she turned out and how she reacted to everything, all of those things were valid, and she kept getting the short end of the stick no matter how hard she tried, and it was heartbreaking. But then it turned out okay in the end.
Yeah. I'm glad it's a good ending. I feel like a lot of those stories don't really end up with a good ending. It's just sad the whole way through.
Yeah. So Catra did nothing wrong, literally at all.
Looking at her, I can tell she's never done anything wrong in her entire life.
Yeah.
So.
And like the things that people might argue that she did wrong, like it's not her fault she's really good at battle. It's not her fault that the princesses are playing with their gloves on. Like, this is a war. Yeah. So sometimes people die.
A lot of death is, you know, who is this? I know her.
You know her.
This is from A Simple Favor. Have you seen this movie?
I have seen A Simple Favor. I watched it on some like Hulu or something once a while back. I would love to hear your thoughts.
I think Blake Lively is just very hot, 10 out of 10. But this character is so chaotic, and it truly is just she's kissing Anna Kendrick. She's kissing the guy, her husband guy. I don't remember who plays him, but he was also hot. And she just is like scheming and being divisive the entire movie, and it's very entertaining.
Do you remember the
not
plot
a single
of the
bad
movie?
outfit. She's like she has a twin sister who's like evil.
Yeah, like she set a building on fire or something.
Mm-hmm. Oh, they killed their parents. So this is something I think they like burned down their house with their parents inside, ran away, and then lied about their identities. I'm pretty sure. I do not remember the plot very well. No. I just remember her being like the bad guy.
Yeah.
And we weren't supposed to be rooting for her, but they made it very difficult because all these reasons.
Yeah. Also, the problem is, and I have this problem with so many heroes and villain relationships, is that villains are always super competent because they're working like an uphill battle, most like depending on the kind of villain. And so, like at some point,
she's the smartest one in the room.
Yeah, it's like, okay, you're outsmarting everyone here. You're like playing 3 steps ahead. You're outsmarting the police. Yeah, the parents were abusive. Like they had it coming.
Okay. They had it coming.
But like, at some point you're kind of like, I kind of want them to go away with it. Like they're doing really good, and I just kind of like to root for a winning team.
Yeah. I think that was a big pull. I was like, she knows everything that's going on, and I'm gonna follow her because I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
Most of the movie.
And also, like, the person she was screwing over was played by Anna Kendrick. And something about Anna Kendrick, I just don't like her. Something about her face, I'm like,
it's just,
I could do without. Yeah. So
it gives me Joey King energy. I can't stand Joey King either. I hate to say it.
Hate to see it.
No disrespect, but I just can't stand her. Yeah.
She had
10 out of 10.
Wait, had sex with her own brother or with...
Oh, brother fucker. Yeah, so Anna Kendrick's character ends up, I think, fucking her stepbrother or something, and Emily like turns it against her and calls her a brother fucker. It's an amazing scene. Very funny.
Yeah.
Do you remember this?
I remember brother fucker is like turning.
Yeah.
Who's turning
spinning
wheels? Yeah.
Wheels. Mm-hmm. Yep.
It's not a phrase you come across often.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah.
Yeah. 10 out of 10. Nothing wrong on her end.
Yeah. Like we all love a good light bullying. Okay.
Light bullying. Oh.
This is all you because I've only watched Grey's Anatomy when other people like I'm with, like my roommate or my sister were binging Grey's Anatomy. So I've seen a lot of it, but like not any of the past, like I don't know how many seasons they're on now. So
17 or something. This was from like season 1. When Addison
is this Patrick Dempsey's wife?
Yes. And she walks up and she's like, I'm his wife or whatever. It's iconic. And he's been fucking Ellen Pompeo, Meredith, the whole time. I don't think, but she was played out to be the bad guy, like the villain wife. And I'm like, hold on, he cheated on her, or did he cheat? No, she cheated on him with his best friend. But there was the relationship wasn't that great, not me defending cheating on the live. She did nothing wrong though. And then she shows up, they weren't divorced or anything, and tries to make amends with Derek. And Derek he's not very kind about it and treats her like shit the entire time.
And yeah, because also like you can't just cheat on someone to get back at them for cheating on you. Like that's not how that works.
Right.
And yeah, I remember like they kind of played up the tension between them and Meredith, which like I get there being tension, but also like Addison was treated as the antagonist, and I'm like, I would be annoyed if my husband, who I was a doctor with and who was also a doctor, was cheating on me with one of his residents, like
one of his new residents,
or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know the hierarchy.
Doctor. The caste system of doctors.
The caste system of doctors. But yeah, so I agree. I don't think she did anything wrong. And I really like.
And then she apologizes after. I do not. He always was giving very pretentious white man energy.
Yeah, it was like he's literally just an annoying white guy.
Yeah, the whole time.
Yeah.
No real character growth.
Like,
you know.
I'm trying to think. I was gonna say, Patrick, like, if you want me to care about one of his characters, like, I was like Maid of Honor, but I'm like, I still actually care more about Kevin McKidd in Maid of Honor and in Grey's Anatomy than I do about. Oh my god!
I'm so.
How do we facilitate a movie night? I have seen so many rom-coms.
We need to do it because I have not seen very many rom-coms. I've seen the one with Sandra Bullock.
That does not. That does the proposal?
The proposal.
I was like, do you know how many rom-coms Sandra Bullock has been in? That's like her entire career from like 1990 to like at least 2010.
The proposal.
Oh my gosh, we do. Oh god.
Yeah.
Maid of Honor has. Oh, I can't think of her name. Katherine Heigl was also in a lot of rom-coms, but she's.
Yeah, she was in Life as We Know It. I remember that.
Yeah.
See.
I think 27 Dresses, unless I'm getting her confused with someone else.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think she was too.
Blonde white women.
Am I confusing my white women? Yeah. Like
happens to the best of us.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, in conclusion, Addison Montgomery never did anything wrong, and she's coming back to Grey's because the ratings are low and they need someone to bring it up. And she's just so good that they're bringing her back.
Very bold of Ellen Pompeo to be saying the things she's been saying when Grey's ratings are low.
I said, girl, what are you doing right now?
Oh my god, did you see? God. Yeah, for those of you who don't know, she's telling the story about basically her arguing with Denzel Washington when he was directing a few episodes, and like it made her look very bad, and we were like, why are you sharing this? And then people criticized her for it because they're like, no, you were in the wrong here. And she was like, excuse me, I have a black husband and black kids. And we were like,
did she say that?
Yeah, she tweeted
I saw the discourse like being like, she just thinks she can do this because she has a black husband and black kids, but I didn't know she had responded.
Yeah, that was earlier today. So
oh god,
Ellen.
Okay. Ellen, we were rooting for you.
We're rooting for you. Now we got to find another one. There's no Ellens in Hollywood that are good.
Always gotta, no.
Oh, this one's covering it.
We did Harley Quinn.
We did Harley Quinn, but I used this photo. But I do want to bring attention to the Harley Quinn from the Joker series. Not from the Joker series. Harley Quinn from the Harley
animated?
Quinn series. Yeah. Did nothing wrong ever. I love her.
Nothing wrong.
Her Poison Ivy somewhere in this list, but like, she's just doing her best. She's had a really stressful time. Actually, no, she did do some things wrong. Every time she went back to the Joker, she did that wrong. Every other thing she's done.
That was the one critique. Yeah.
Yeah. Totally fine. The thing she said.
Gotta drop him.
Yeah. So back to Ellen Pompeo though, like. She said, you should probably just Google it, and you can kind of read the interview about her arguing with Denzel Washington, and her being like, I'm, like, the main actor of this series, like, blah, 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 and he was like, I'm the director, so, like, don't direct people, because that's my job. But, yeah.
I got secondhand embarrassment, like, reading what she had said.
I know.
My body, like,
especially, I think of it a lot. Have you ever watched, before Z-Way had a show on Showtime, she had it on her Instagram Live. It was called Baited. So it's this show where people go on and she baits them into saying like racist stuff. It's really funny. But like they know that when they go on the show. Like she doesn't lie about the premise. Okay. It's like the show is literally called Baited. And one guy was going on the show and I forgot the question, but she asked him if like I forget what he did, but he was, like, talking about how, like, one time he did blackface and, like, where it was and what it was. And she's like, oh, my God, why would you, like, just unprompted, just, like, volunteer information about yourself? Like, Ellen, you could have sat with that. You could have sat with that story, and we wouldn't have known. But not only did she sit with it, but, like, she actively brought it up to be like, ha, 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 this was a funny thing that happened. And it's like,
and the joke, no one laughed.
No one laughed. And then, like, white women were like, this is about women not being taken seriously against men. And we're like, that's not what this is at all.
Nar. No, it's not.
Oh, yeah. Next. Oh, this worked out very well for the PowerPoint.
There she is. This did work out well.
My queen, my love. Poison Ivy's literally done nothing wrong ever in her life.
Nothing.
Everyone she kills are people who are destroying the environment. And frankly, if Poison Ivy lived in our world, you see how the US is dragging its goddamn feet when it comes to literally saving the planet. Every country just chugging along. Like, literally, everything is dying. It is called the Great Dying. That is what we are, like...
It's a good name for the era.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't pick it. But, like, literally, all she does is go after people who know better, who should be doing better, who have the means and resources to not be bags of shit. How am I supposed to feel bad for her? And she helps Harley.
Wipes them off the map.
Literally.
And she's hot.
What single thing has Poison Ivy done that's made her a bad guy?
No.
Nothing.
She's better than most.
Better than most.
Yeah. Just people.
Exactly.
Environmentalist queen.
Energy. Evil. You
haven't seen this.
I haven't seen this. I had to Google the name on the internet. So tell me why she's done nothing wrong. I know nothing about this movie except there's two of them.
Okay. There's two of them. Basically, the plot twist. I have to give away the spoiler.
That's fine.
At the end of the movie, but you've had like 3 years.
Yeah.
For us, basically, the good Lupita Nyong'o or whatever, who's like the main character throughout it, and her family, swapped places with like the bad one when they were little. So the evil girl right here is actually like the little girl who was living her life and then got taken as a kid, because there's this underworld society where everyone has a double, but they're just kind of like, they're called tethered, but they're just kind of mindless. And it's like they're acting out as the people above them would. Like me right now, there's a me down in the trenches underground in the tunnels, but she's just kind of sitting in a chair right now looking mindlessly at something, right?
Gotcha.
So somehow Lupita Nyong'o's character, the good one, we assume the entire movie, switches places with the evil one. So the evil one is, I'm explaining this very poorly.
So like
they swapped.
So like before the movie, the evil one is like living the real life, and the actual one is like stuck underground or whatever.
Yeah. And when she's young, she goes to this carnival and finds like where they all are, and her twin like takes her as a kid and switches places with her, and then grows up and pretends like she's normal. So this is revenge. This is a giant revenge plot, and we don't find out it's a revenge plot until the end, but she's the one who like organizes all of these people coming up from the tunnels and killing their counterparts. And I was like, you know what? I would be mad too. But she's justified.
Yeah.
Having to live underground for like 20 years.
Yeah. That'll do shit too. I also have a hard time, like, especially in movies like this where like weird shit's going on, where it's like, yeah, you know, I'm never gonna have to deal with that level of weird shit. So I feel like I really can't say she did anything wrong. Like, if I had to live my entire life growing up in a tunnel with a bunch of, like, mindless tethered people and, like, trying to figure out what autonomy meant, like...
Right? I'd be a little upset.
I'd be a little upset.
I would be frustrated.
Yeah.
Aggravated. Yeah. I don't think she did anything wrong.
Good for her. Good for her.
Good for her. Good for her.
Yeah. The cool girl herself.
The cool girl, Amy Dunn.
And I just in case people have read the book, we're talking about the movie. I know the book is a little different. I'm sure she also did nothing wrong in the book, but like, this woman, good for her.
Good for her. Oh my gosh. She's headlining the PowerPoint.
I literally, like, I don't feel bad for about anything she did.
No.
Would I have felt worse if her husband wasn't played by Ben Affleck? Maybe. Hard to say.
It made him really easy to
It made it
not feel bad for.
Right, which is like, that's on you. Or actually maybe the casting director did an amazing job there. Maybe that was it had to have been intentional. They knew.
I know exactly who to cast as this hateable guy.
Yeah. But no, you go through all your life. Just for the cool girl monologue alone, everything she said was 100% right.
I listened to it right before we got on, and I was like, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So true.
Amy, it also reminds me of, the energy of people, and you see it, I forget, there's some sitcom that's, talking about this, but, how there are so many women in this country because women tend to go to college in higher numbers than men. So you have all these super educated women who end up becoming stay-at-home moms. So it's they channel all of their intelligence and all of their stuff into just mom shit, which is fine. But this entire the entire plan, the forethought, the execution, the only downside being that, the person she hit out with turned out to be crazy. Again, another man fucking it up. But, the cool girl monologue alone, everything about it, and then at the end of the movie being JK, we're here now. You're my husband forever.
And no one ever suspected a thing. Yeah. She really turned that around on him. Yeah. And it was a true good for you moment. Again, I remember watching this when I was younger and being made to believe the whole time she was supposed to be the antagonist in a sense, and never got that vibe. Yeah,
literally did not occur to me at all.
Yeah,
and I think one thing that's oh shit, I lost my train of thought. Hold on. Talking good for her, cool girl monologue. Oh, I think that's the other thing that I really like about this movie. The more you think about it, here we like to do a deep dive on things occasionally, but the cool girl monologue shows is that this is her fucking life. She is an actual human being with, needs and agency and all of that shit. And it was her just saying to him, I refused to be a side character in your story. I refuse to let you just treat me however you want because you're incapable of seeing me as a person and you just want the cool girl. You don't want an actual woman. And that, I just feel that, it flips a switch in you. I think everyone should watch everyone should watch this movie, regardless of gender. It's informative.
And I think in a sense you understand that she was performing the whole time and she kind of expected him to also be performing, and then as soon as he cheats on her, it's oh, you're not performing for me, and you
we had this
I'm
agreement.
The cool girl.
Yeah, I was doing this because you were doing this, and I thought we had an agreement about I'm willing to do this bullshit if you're willing to put up the bullshit, even though we know there's no love in it anymore. And it's just because you've decided to go off and do your own thing and fuck me over, I'm not gonna keep up my end of the
being
bargain.
The cool
because
girl.
why would I?
Yeah. Very cool.
Good for her.
10 out of 10. Nothing wrong.
Nothing.
There she is.
Katie Mcgrath, my beloved.
Love Katie Mcgrath. Morgana
Katie
and
McGrath.
Katie McGrath.
Just every single role she's in, I'm beautiful. I
see Katie McGrath and I click.
I do want to say the reason why they can't have an open relationship is because having an open relationship requires trust and communication, and they are incapable of neither.
They had neither. Oh my god, Morgana was so cool. Morgana
was so cool and literally just got screwed over at every single possible feasible opportunity.
God, every time.
And she kept trying to do the decisions that would be good, and every single time she made a step toward doing something good and doing something nice, it screwed her over. So the fact that she also like do you know how messed up I would be if I was like figuring out I was magic and had to hide from everything and like learning this about myself and dealing with all this family bullshit. Literally. And then fucking Merlin, and like I'm trying to get this guy Merlin, who I'm pretty sure is like the bane of my existence, and it's just like one of my friends who has been lying to me this entire time and has been perfectly fine learning magic and doing it on his own, and didn't tell me, didn't help me, didn't stick his neck out for me. Like, I would be pissed too. I would kill Arthur too.
And then they got mad when she reacted in a way I feel like that was appropriate. Yeah. And she went into like her goth girl era, and everyone was mad.
Yeah.
And like, it was weird.
It was weird. Like, should she have kidnapped Guinevere? No, but they should have been gay together.
Oh, can we talk about that? What? Why not? Why didn't we get that?
Literally, why not? Because it's the BBC, so they have to make everything incredibly homoerotic without actually crossing the line of gay.
Without actually submitting and following through.
Merlin and Arthur's another one that I'm like, if you show these scenes to a straight person out of context, they would be like...
Literally.
It's like a little fruity.
I'm like, this is a fruit basket?
Yeah. I think that if Merlin had just killed Uther early on, and he and Morgana, like literally the entire series I was watching, I was like, Merlin and Morgana should just be friends. Like literally, if they just started out being friends, because they're like, oh my god, there's a prophecy. It's like, fuck your prophecy. Literally, simply be better than the prophecy. Like,
rise above the prophecy.
Make your own prophecy. Like literally. Oh, because some guy said it? Maybe that story was wrong. Just argue that the prophecy was wrong and we're supposed to be besties. And then we just hang out and do fun, cool magic shit. Like, people were so mean to her, and for what? Because she was a woman. Literally, that's why.
Because she's a woman? No, literally, yeah, I was going to say it. No. Yeah. They love to hate women. I fear. I totally forgot about Morgana and Guinevere, like, that missed opportunity.
Yeah, it's just like,
could have happened.
Why would you give me such close relationships, especially with the two of them, like make it so close and like cute and like hot and like whatever and like such great chemistry, and then just do nothing with that. Like they didn't play it up enough that it ever felt like even the betrayal didn't feel like a ton of a betrayal, because it's not like she like went around and like murdered Guinevere. I mean, she like trapped her in a labyrinth, but she was fine and she turned out fine. But like,
you're over it.
It's like, why do you get so close to doing something good and then just not committing? Morgana deserved better.
They walked through the line and then step back. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very frustrating. But she did deserve so much better. I was rooting for her the entire time. I don't remember what happened to her.
I think
Did she die? Did they kill her?
I think they killed her. I think she died in that battle. Because that's when she figured out Merlin was like Merlin and was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
But managed to hurt Arthur beforehand. God. Yeah. I have a friend who literally won't watch Merlin because she knows how it ends. Yeah. So I just texted all of the updates.
One of those you close the computer before.
Yeah.
Yeah. That is tragic.
Yeah.
I always wanted her to win. Oh, wow.
Same. Why are you giving me strong female role models and then like them not winning?
Not winning.
Like, what are you trying to tell me? That if I work hard and apply myself, the world's gonna fuck me over anyway? I mean, yeah, but like, I don't need that in, like, media.
No.
Crazy Jane.
Crazy Jane. Wait, what's this from?
This is from Doom Patrol, the show that is not Paw Patrol.
Every time you tweet Doom Patrol, my head just goes, Paw Patrol. No. Why is Amelia watching Paw Patrol?
I'm not watching Paw Patrol. ACAB. We don't fuck with that here.
Right.
Jane is one of my favorite characters. Rita, so my problem is I love Rita as a character, but she kind of what happened to her, she kind of had what was coming to her with the powers. Basically, Jane's character... Jane is the primary personality for a system that developed after Kay Chalice, a young girl, was assaulted by her father repeatedly.
Okay.
So she has DID and she has these separate personalities. Those are already established, and that this is spoilers, just so you know.
That's fine.
and then she got injected with this serum that was supposed to give her superpowers, and each one of her personalities manifested a different ability. So now she goes through life. Jane is the primary personality, but different ones have different powers, and so that's how it becomes relevant in the series, because different ones kind of come to the front to do different things at times. It is great. But literally, everything in Jane's life is just, like, literally being abused from her entire life and then taken advantage of, and then, like, finding out that Niles, the guy who, Niles called her, like, the old British guy who's kind of the connection for all of these people, was the one who actually experimented on her to get her powers, and he was the person that she trusts. Like, her life is constantly her just trying to find someone to trust and believe in her, and then just getting disappointed.
That's trash.
And it's her, like, dealing with all the superpower bullshit, but also just, like, real life bullshit and trauma responses and trying to just live as a human. Jane deserves better. Jane literally deserves everything.
Jane did nothing wrong, is what I'm hearing.
Jane did nothing wrong. Because, like, all of the other ones you can kind of, I would argue that maybe Larry did only a little bit wrong. Cliff, Robot Man, he did some things wrong. Cyborg also did nothing wrong, but that's just Cyborg. We know that story. Every single time his dad's a piece of shit. Rita did do some things wrong. I love her. She's my favorite character. She did do things wrong. But Jane
did not.
Literally deserves the world. She deserves a break. And
Pouring one out for Jane. Did they call her Crazy Jane on the show?
They mostly just call her Jane. I think, like, she's kind of introduced as Crazy Jane, and they really avoid that. And I think the reason why is because, like, again, I've talked about this before, I think, when I was talking about Doom Patrol Momo. Like, I, as someone who does not have DID, can't say whether or not this is good representation for people who do or have DID. It does seem to be better representation than what happens in a lot of media. It's handled very thoughtfully with people who do research, so I leave it to that community to, like, really comment on that. But I think the reason why her name is Crazy Jane is because it is something, that's her name in the comics. And I think, honestly, I would say it's probably for licensing, copyright, and, like, continuity reasons. And I also think this is one of those things, I think it had the same thing with Shang-Chi, where you have, like, source material that's, like, varying levels of problematic depending on which run you're on.
Yes.
Yes. That in recent years have tried to sort of clean up a little bit. But Jane has done nothing wrong in her life ever. And also, like, her entire thing, all of the, in parts of the series you see the underground, which is all of the different personalities all the different alters interacting with each other, and it's just like her whole thing is just trying to protect the little girl that's still inside of her from reliving it, and it's just beautiful. It's really nice.
So Jane never done anything wrong and never will.
Decidedly.
Could not.
Did we already do Maleficent? No, we didn't. You frozen.
Did anything wrong. That man took advantage of her. Am I back?
Yeah, you're back.
I dipped out for a sec.
Yeah.
Okay. That man took advantage cut her wings off. Cut a part of her body off. And then kept it in a glass cage just to look at. So, yeah. Anything she did, justified.
Literally, I hadn't seen Maleficent until, like, just a couple years ago. Like, I saw it, like, a little bit, like, a while after it had come out. But also, like, she was just taking care of this sweet little girl. She wasn't even being evil. She was just protecting the environment from all of the humans who were destroying it. Like,
Another environmentalist.
Like, who am I supposed to hate? Humanity or, like, literally trees?
Right.
And yeah, it's just everything was taken from her. Literally the wings off of her back. I can't feel bad for her. She did nothing wrong.
It's like, should she have cursed the child? No. And I think that was a really rash decision she made in the moment. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to call it wrong because that man did cut her wings off, and she did warn him.
Yeah.
And gave him a chance to redeem himself, which he never did.
Yeah. I just feel like if I were a person living in fantasy other worlds, you should know if you fuck with magic creatures, you are going to get your child cursed. Like, now, it's not
Literally.
Sleeping Beauty's fault. She was just there. But, like, that's just a very common thing. That's a very common motif. It happens all the time.
It happens all the time.
And so, like, should we blame the person cursing the child? Maybe. Or we could blame the person who pissed off someone they shouldn't have been messing around. Do we blame the fire for burning a child's hand? No. It's a fire. That's what it does.
No.
Learn to respect nature. Yeah.
Maybe Philip should have done that. But he didn't, because he's a dumb man with a lot of power. And yeah. And then Maleficent went and took care, because then Philip was a bad father, because he sent his daughter off to live with a bunch of fairies. And Maleficent was the one making sure that they didn't kill her when she was like literally an infant to adulthood, and then got none of the credit.
Yeah, what is it with like fantasy people? Like that's the real bad guy is improper parenting. It's poor parenting.
It's poor parenting.
Like,
yeah.
It could have been so much worse. She was really doing her best. And I feel like the curse wasn't personal. It's like, no, like, I gotta make him learn, so I'm so sorry cursing. She did the best considering the circumstances, and it turned out fine. Turned out fine.
Everybody won, except for Philip, but he didn't deserve to win.
He didn't deserve it. Nebula.
Beautiful. I love this blue robot girl so much.
One of my favorite robot people, hands down.
Hands down.
Hands down, maybe my favorite.
Yes.
Nebula literally has done nothing wrong in her life ever.
She's been wronged so much.
She's
never herself done anything. Nobody takes her seriously, and they always like belittle her.
Right.
And then get upset when she's mad, and I'm
literally
it's confusing to watch.
The disrespect she has to deal with for every single goddamn day of her entire goddamn life. The disrespect just verbally, and then the abuse and the whole robot shit, like that stuff with Gamora. Like, look, I know they were kids, but at some point Gamora got older, and she knew. She did. Nebula did nothing wrong. Nebula deserves everything, and
she should have killed Thanos.
She should have gotten.
She should have been able to be able
Honestly, I think even if it's like she should have at least gotten a couple swings.
Right.
Who is that?
She didn't get anything really.
Now we're back to hating Tony Stark, because what the fuck was that? I get it. I get it. Iron Man launched the MCU. I get it. It was like the first big superhero movie in the modern push of superhero movies, but like. Thematically,
but they were expecting Iron Man to flop too. Is my thing. Like, it was just you got lucky.
It's literally because it's Robert Downey Jr. Like anyone else, and I'm really glad that he used that to like get his life right. But I'm also just like Tony saved the universe.
Not Carol, not Nebula, not Wanda, who literally was about to kill Thanos right then and there.
Yeah,
it's Tony.
I think it's so funny when people are like, Thanos had to take down suicide strike all of his ships in order to take down Wanda. And I just think about this time when someone asked Stan Lee, like, who would win in a fight. Like, I forget if it was Batman versus Superman or something. And Stan Lee is like, well, it depends on whose comic it is. Because if it's a Superman comic, it depends on who the writers want to win. You can argue it for anything. And so I think it's funny when people are like, well, Thanos did that whole thing to defeat Wanda. But I was like, but if they wanted to, they would. If they wanted to, they would.
Literally.
Wanda would have saved the world. Maybe if Wanda had gotten the last blow, then she would have gotten some therapy after everyone she knew and loved was destroyed. Like, everything she knew and loved was destroyed and ripped from her. And everyone was like, yeah, but the guy who's the problem, the guy who's responsible for this, let's just paint some murals in his honor. Because he managed to do the one thing he was good at, which was killing people and profiting from war in the right direction for once.
And the one time he did it in the right direction, and then he died.
Yeah.
Should we clap?
Yeah.
Like,
beautiful.
Yeah. Good job, Tony.
Great.
Yeah, it's annoying for sure. Yeah. Yeah, I loved her the whole time. I, again, didn't really see her as I know they were pushing that.
I know.
Didn't see it.
And the thing The thing about Ravonna, oh my gosh, when this came out, I was drawing a comparison. There's another woman who did nothing wrong too, but like Ravonna always.
Sylvie? Is it Sylvie?
Not in the series. I was thinking of a different series, but like.
Okay.
But she did the entire time she was focused on the mission. She did everything for the mission, and she knew that this was a goal, and she was right. And just because some of the circumstances changed, she remained committed to the mission. Whereas, what's his name, Mobius, all of a sudden decided to get wishy-washy at the end. Like,
it's true.
Come on. She's from the Loki series.
A common trend is that these women are all very goal-oriented and are trying to get from like point A to point B and keep everything intact while going.
Yeah.
And somehow that makes them the villain. I don't know.
Yeah, it's kind of weird because then the men kind of come and fuck things up, and it's like I can't think of a single like actually chaotic woman in the Marvel universe.
Yeah, that's like unjustifiably.
Like Carol
chaotic.
Is like the closest it comes, but like every woman is so like goal oriented and like this is what I want to do, and is like not given any space to just be a hero and have like not even have fun, but like have a moment of reprieve. And like a lot of the men are.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, but yeah, and also Ravonna was right.
Like Star-Lord.
Like, yeah. But like, she was like, we can't just, end the TVA because we don't know what will happen, and dealing with the devil we know is better than just unleashing this universe and possibly she was the only one who had a concept of the stakes of like, hey, this is literally every possible existence. I get that what we're doing might not be perfect, and I know I did some bad shit, but like, this is bigger than any of us. And it wasn't until the very end that Loki got on board with it. Because he was when it was already too late for him to do, like that's the thing that bothers me about hero
types. It's too late.
It's always like right when it's too late. I was like, why didn't you fucking listen? Because when every universe, like what happened to Sylvie seems really bad, and it was rude. It's like a thing they're doing to a kid, and like the whole thing with the variants getting brainwashed and becoming like that's its own thing. But like when you say, hi, would you like. Your job is just to reset all of these variants. And if you don't, literally every universe could get destroyed. And some of them definitely will. And there will be a lot of pain and suffering. Would you, I don't know, get this one tiny like 8-year-old or 7-year-old to like go get her mind wiped for a second or get reset? Like, this isn't like a trolley problem. This is literally one person for every single universe. And I think I hate about superhero movies. The thing I hate is they're always like Captain America being like, we don't trade lives. And it's like, yeah, you do. You just trade the lives of people you don't know instead of the lives of your best friends.
Yeah.
Like, you are just willing to let all these other people get massacred in line so you can keep whatever moral high ground you're standing on. And that's exactly what happened. And that's why Ravonna did nothing wrong.
Not a thing. Wow. That was really good. That was beautiful. Yeah. 10 out of 10, Ravonna.
10 out of 10. Keep slaying, Queen. I look forward to seeing you in the future. Villanelle. This was an interesting one to put on the
Light
list.
of my life.
I also still haven't seen Killing Eve season 3.
This was an interesting one.
Yeah. No, Villanelle.
I haven't either.
Okay. Oh, perfect. Good. We're on the same page.
Yeah. Have you seen season 2 though?
I have seen season 2. So I'm going to float something by you, and then I'd like to hear your response. Some people would argue that because Villanelle is an assassin who feels no remorse for the many people she murders, both for jobs and just for fun, that would be something wrong she has done. What would you say to those people?
I would say you're entitled to think that. And, in some aspects, maybe. But we've all made choices in our life. And she's, been trained to be, a killer, in a sense. Wasn't she? I feel like I need to watch season 3 to get
she
more
was, but, also she was kind of a little bit murderous before that.
But she's also being manipulated by a man to do these crimes for him and trading for money and housing and stuff. And I'm like, well, no one's offering to help her. They just want to use her to kill people. So that doesn't really seem like her fault. Exactly. If she's a sociopath, maybe they should help her instead of being like, oh, that's really cool. You should go kill these people for us.
Especially because everyone feels like it's way more convenient to just point her at something they want her to kill rather than like maybe getting to the root of like maybe get her to not murder people at all. I also think it's really admirable that she just spends all of her money on looking absolutely fucking hot. Like her outfits all the time. 1000%.
So good.
She always like she's like I'm on like she treats every day like it's a vacation. Like she is carpeing that DM. She's like I'm going to a fancy hotel. I'm gonna get good food. I'm gonna get luxury like designer bags. Like she and Eve should kill people together. I don't care if it's good or bad. Honestly,
they should. Like they should.
When I like, if Eve wants to go over to the dark side, good for her.
Good for her. We'll throw her on the PowerPoint.
I do feel a little bad for her husband, but
Eve's but then I'm also like, what do you want me to do about him?
What am I
think Villanelle is better. That's not my problem.
In most ways that matter, I think
this isn't good for him.
Fun. And I also feel really bad for Villanelle when she thought she and Eve were gonna run away together, only for that not to happen. Like she had feelings.
I'm so sad.
Don't let Villanelle be sad.
She's feeling something. Yeah. I know she's killed a lot of people, and she killed that kid. Remember that part in the hospital?
Yeah. It's one of those things where, like, at first I was like, "Oh, is she gonna kill this kid?" Like when they first met, and then she didn't, and then at the end I was like, "I mean, you are a super spy, so you can't really leave witnesses. Maybe like that's one of those things that we take back if we can, but also like at some point you do have to move forward. You can't unkill a kid.
Yeah, and his parents died in that car accident, and her justification was that he had no one left for him. Which was that her choice? Was that her, role to play in that scenario?
Only God can judge.
Only God can judge. That's not for me to judge.
It's not really our place.
That's not my business.
I think that if Eve had stayed with her, they would have had a very fun and sexy life. And honestly, she would still probably kill randos. But I think she would kill fewer good people.
Yeah, maybe channel that into more like a Dexter with killing bad people. Eve could help her with that.
Yeah. How old was the kid? I don't know. Maybe like
he was like 14,
teenager. 15? Yeah, like 14 or 15. Yeah. So
it wasn't like a small kid. Yeah. She did have the chance to kill a small kid, and she didn't.
The bar is on the floor, and she stepped over it.
The bar is in hell.
The bar is in hell, and for once, she did not sink to the occasion. Oh, God. I think this is our last one, maybe. Who's next? I could be wrong. This is not our last one.
Hello. Oh! I freaking love her.
Literally everyone who has had to deal with Odin. Yeah, anyone who's had to deal with Odin as a parental figure actually isn't responsible for any of their crimes ever. Hela is the
that's a very good way of putting it.
Goddess who is, in the Thor franchise, she is Thor and Loki's older sister. I will say, one thing I was so upset about when they announced that Hela was going to join the MCU is that in the comics and in Norse mythology, she is Loki's daughter. So I thought we were going to get some father-daughter bonding, and that was going to be fun and chaotic. And they did this, which is like, this was good, this was fun, but also I still wish we had gotten, like, Loki's bastard child from Hell. Like,
could you imagine?
That would have been so good.
God.
And I also was wondering, too, because it was, like, with her as the antagonist, I was like, how is it going to work? Because, like, Loki's whole thing is that he is bad, but he's not, like, evil, so he always pulls the punch back before it gets super awful, or, you know, fate intervenes and it doesn't. So, like, I wanted to know how it would be if he had, like, this daughter who was like, hi, come be evil with me, Dad. What would he do? We were robbed.
I feel like that's too big. That was too big at the time for them to handle. They wouldn't have been able to pull that off the way that it
they could not.
To be.
Yeah, they couldn't handle it. But
they're barely pulling it off now.
Yeah. But yeah, she was just.
But her father locked her away. Or something.
Her father raised her to be a murderer and killer and made her very good at murdering and killing, and she kept murdering and killing. And when he decided he didn't want to do the one thing that they bonded together and the one thing he raised her for, she just left. Like, he just was like, oh, she's like, well, I'm going to keep doing this thing, and I'm going to keep doing literally what we've been doing my entire life. I'm going to stay with the plot. And he was like, no, I'm going to put you in jail now. Make it make sense, Odin.
Make it make sense. It does not. Well, it does because he's a man and he's Odin and he thinks he's better than everyone. But yeah, she was very justified in all of her actions. Also, the outfit and the makeup. She looked really good.
Yeah, she had the goth aesthetic down pat.
She did.
She slayed.
Yeah,
there was
2014 Tumblr was quaking.
Oh my god, they could not handle. They would not be able to.
Mm-hmm.
I also want to point out, now that we're talking about Hela and I'm thinking about Odin and the Thor franchise, another woman who deserved better is just Lady Sif, who I genuinely thought that Marvel forgot existed until
Sif?
the Loki series. I had to look it up because I was like, oh, did she die at some point?
Yeah, they probably did.
No, they just forgot. She was like in an Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. for like an episode or two, and then like nothing else, no comment, not brought up, and I was like, huh. Okay.
Interesting.
Yeah. She deserved better.
Yeah, and they need to bring her back because we need more of her. Yeah.
Yeah, she was hot and she was fun.
Fun hot girl. And they refuse to have it.
Speaking of women who are wronged by the MCU.
Wanda Maximoff. Mm-hmm. Done nothing wrong. Been in many a fight about this. Been, the ringer on this. I don't think what she did was that bad. I don't think, what she did to that town was that bad. And I've said before, if a hot MILF witch takes me hostage in her town and lets me relive all the decades that I want while she's working through her own issues, who am I to say no to that? I would do it. Also, everyone she loved died. And then she actually had to kill the love of her life and got nothing out of it because they lost anyway. A lot of trauma. Then her brother got shot up because of Hawkeye, to save Hawkeye.
Ugh. Biggest waste.
Yeah. Biggest waste. Jesus.
Yeah. And not only that, but the person who was responsible for destroying her life when she was a kid through war profiteering, and then later destroying her hometown again through worse war profiteering, is lauded as a hero. And she can't even get the space to critique him or criticize him because no one's willing to listen. And then the second she has any human emotions about her trauma or is stuck alone processing it, everyone treats her like she's poisonous and like she's crazy after she is just a product of everything that Tony Stark's legacy has led up to. And instead of getting the Peter Parker treatment, or instead of getting love, instead of getting taken under the wing, like they even had they like played up Hawkeye being like a father figure to them, and then it abandoned that. And I was like, good, Clint, you're literally less than fucking useless. And like they had all of this happening.
Yeah.
And then her love died. She has to kill him, only to watch him die again, only to be destroyed for 5 years, come back and realize no one's even treating him as a human, and they're treating him as another weapon, another one of Tony Stark's things that's supposed to save the world that somehow always ends up damaging it. Literally, like, what they were doing when they made White Vision is, like, basically what resulted in Ultron. Like...
Yeah. You know Freddie's roommate?
Yeah.
Justin,
yes.
He called White Vision Republican Vision.
Literally like, Republican Vision. Literally.
That's...
Like, imagine the love of your life... body being taken apart and reanimated as a cop. What?
Hell on earth.
Yeah. She didn't get a proper funeral for Vision. She didn't get anything for Vision. They didn't get a memorial, nothing. Stark got everything. And then she's just trying to move on with her life. And found, because that was the thing. That's the thing in WandaVision. She was moving on. She was making progress. But then when she found out what they were doing to Vision's body, that's when she broke down. When she got to that house and realized none of her dreams, she wasn't getting anything. She was just constantly screwed over.
She wasn't getting anything.
Again, another woman, another female character who literally makes every right decision they can at every moment they can. They're trying to do the best. They're not even trying to, like, actively destroy the world. They're literally just trying to stay in their lane and do something good for once, who is actively screwed over by the world around them.
Yeah. Every time. That's the thing, like, too, you mentioned it, but, like, at the end of Endgame, she loses again. Like, she loses more than everyone else because it's just all of her friends go away, her boyfriend... Tony gets immortalized and praised. It's just lose.
She has no support system, powers that she doesn't understand. It is desperately trying to control and keep other people from taking advantage of. And every time she manages to scrounge something for herself, the rug is slipped from underneath her. Like...
Right.
It is just... And the thing is, I'm trying to think, are there any male characters in the franchise that get the same level of treatment where just everything is constantly taken from them until they can't take anymore? Like, maybe Loki, maybe, but he still gets to do stuff. He's still, like...
Yeah.
Those are the results of his act. Like, not all the bad stuff, but, like, half the bad stuff that happens to Loki is because he's a little piece of shit. Like... Right. And I love him. So much. One of my favorite characters. But, like...
And he gets to talk it out. He gets to, like, have discourse around what he's doing. He got to have his therapy
session where he watched his life movie and got to cry. Like... I'm just trying to think, had there been any male characters in the MCU who have had to go through all of the shit the female characters have to go through, where no matter what they do, they always lose?
No. I don't think so.
I literally can't think of
really
any.
Do not.
So...
And that's what pisses me off, too, because the male characters get to, like, talk it out and, like, beef it out however they are written, but the female characters don't. She doesn't talk to, like... Someone made a video, like, do any of the Marvel movies pass the Bechdel test? And it's, like, very few of them do. Like, Guardians of the Galaxy, but it's barely. It's so slight. Wanda and Nat never have a conversation, and people were like, well, they're both, like, tortured as children and speak a different language and have, you know, abilities, kind of uncontrollable, whatever, a lot of emotions. That would have been cool to see, but no. No.
Yeah, and it's just, especially because all of these things are just written by people, but it's like, how come in the guy movies, I say guy movies as if Black Widow wasn't and Captain Marvel haven't been the only movies that are actually centered around a woman, like, just a woman. But
and
like,
white women too, I'm like, wow.
Groundbreaking. Florals in spring. But like, why is it a lot of guy characters, either they're going up against, like, objective evil, like, you know, Captain America fighting Nazis, or the consequences of their own actions, and they get to win.
If it isn't the consequences of their own actions. Yeah.
But, like, the women are like, hi, you are going to do everything you can to do the best, and you're going to get fucked over, and you will either die or end up traumatized. Like, I swear to God, if Wanda doesn't make it out alive from Multiverse of Madness, I'm just going to go on a rant that will never end.
Oh, I'm quitting. I mean, the thing is like, because she makes so much money for the studio is the like one of the main reasons I feel like they wouldn't kill her. But taking that out, if they did, they just tragedy, death.
Yeah.
And nothing else.
Yeah, the only thing they ever did right by Wanda was actually like giving a shit about her character in the TV series, because I did not care about Wanda as a character until WandaVision. Like, at least MCU Wanda. I was like I knew a lot about like Scarlet Witch, like in comics, and I was like, this is really like such a great character. In the movies, I hadn't had enough content, and then I watched WandaVision. I was like, okay, I'm invested. I am here. I care.
Invested in this woman. Yeah.
And Azula vibes. Hell yes, exactly. Okay,
and Agatha. We didn't put Agatha on the list, but
literally, girl was just trying to.
I wanted her and wanted a kiss.
They should have. I think it's really funny how, like, yeah, honestly, just therapy. How much of this world would be better if they just had therapy? Like, that they just mandated it for heroes. This is our last character who did nothing wrong. If
Wanda is?
No, coming up, unless we have more to say about
the next one. Okay. I'm excited. Yes! Yes. Never has done anything wrong.
No.
She, again, only tried to do the right thing.
Yeah. Okay, also, yeah. Azula, I will just take a little non sequitur before we get to Regina. Azula needed therapy and love and, like, a support. Just give women a support system. That's all you have to do. That's how you get from having supervillains and they have cool powers. But, literally. Okay, back to Regina Mills.
I fucking love her.
Queen. If I had to deal, like, the way she dealt with everything from Emma and Snow, I don't care what you say. I don't care if it makes me a bad person, but if I had to deal with Once Upon a Time Snow White, fuck, I'd turn into a supervillain too. That girl was so annoying. I hate her
so much.
She was so fucking annoying all the goddamn time. Emma was also annoying, but at least she was gay about it. Like, it's just so, like, if I had to put up with that bullshit, I would not have handled it with that much grace. Did she wipe an entire town of their memories? I mean, kind of, but, like...
She was trying to do the right thing, sort of. She's trying to, make things easier, as one does. And she looked good doing it the whole time, as well.
She looked good in the past, looked good in the present, and literally, like, the entire time, she just loved her son so much. The only crime she committed was loving Henry too much.
Henry. Henry annoyed me, I have to say.
He was annoying.
He got on my nerves.
He was, God, he was an annoying kid. But I'm like, imagine... Okay, so also Regina knows all the magic stuff behind this. This isn't like a regular adoption thing. But, like, imagine you've been raising this kid that you had adopted and taken care of who was, like, just abandoned. And then when he's 8, his adopted mother comes into town and is like, actually, fuck you, I'm taking him back. Like, was she...
Nar.
Like, was she an evil queen? A little bit. But an evil queen is only evil because that's what people call her. She was a loving mother who just tried to do what was best for her son. And she did nothing wrong. And she kept getting screwed over every single time she... Oh, my God. And then the whole, like...
It's a trend. It's a trend.
Robin Hood.
Oh! All of her love.
Why can't she be happy?
That was so sad. She can't. She's not allowed to.
Why does every person who writes for TV and film see a woman and they're like, we're going to make her so powerful and competent, and then we are just going to break her heart every single time she gets a modicum of joy.
1,000 ways over. That was so painful.
That was so upsetting.
Because she got, like, a second chance because she got him and his son, his cute little son.
They were, like,
and she was
happy. She was being good. Family. She was doing well.
The writers were rooting on her downfall.
And for what?
It made no sense.
I don't understand how writers can make such amazing characters and then just not, like, and then just screw them over and flavor on the bland ones.
Yeah.
Like,
I did ship Swan Queen.
Yeah.
When I was younger, it was on my radar.
It was a better one. Well, like,
to be real.
Emma and Captain Hook is just kind of
And this was earlier. This was before Emma got super annoying. Because I liked Emma for the first, like, couple seasons.
Yeah.
And then it got annoying.
That's what happens when you're exposed to Snow White. If you don't be a bitch
she was
to
so
her,
fucking annoying.
She just makes you more annoying.
She was annoying from the first episode of Once Upon a Time.
Yeah. Emma.
It's impressive Regina didn't kill her.
Literally. Emma and Regina did not end up together. Emma ended up with, like, an alternate version of Captain Hook, which I don't think we ever really, like, dissected in the series. And Regina ended up alone with her shitty novelist son.
Surprise.
Belle and Rumple.
I don't remember how it ended.
I know they broke up for a while. I don't think it ended with them together.
They were on and off a lot.
Well, because also the sixth season was kind of weird because, like, a lot of the cast didn't return, so I don't remember who was in it.
Really? I stopped out the Frozen season. I watched the Frozen season with Elsa and Anna, and then I stopped.
The last season of the series, it jumps forward in time to Henry being an adult, and he has written a book on Once Upon a Time, and I forget why, but basically a lot of the people in the town, in the fairy tale town, fall under a curse again, except this time it's outside of, like, in a neighborhood in Seattle, and they don't remember their fairy tale characters, and he thinks the books are fiction, and this young little girl is trying to convince him and her mom that they're real, and her mom ends up being Cinderella. Yeah.
Wow.
And he was also kind of annoying.
Wait, is it his daughter?
I think so. I think he and Cinderella got together in the fantasy world, and then when they came back to the real world, neither of them remembered each other. So Cinderella and her daughter were off, and then I think that's the thing. I think the daughter is trying to because it's the inverse. The daughter is trying to get the son to come back here and believe in fairy tales, and he's like, I'm just a book author.
Yeah.
And so that's, I think, and they did that to deal with the fact that, like, a lot of the characters weren't back. Like, the actress who played Emma wasn't in that season. She just made a cameo at the end. And a lot of them kind of just did that.
Word.
At the wedding. There was a wedding. But yeah.
Okay.
That's,
sounds like it fell apart.
Oh, yeah. They jumped the shark, for sure.
That sucks. And it was never really well written or good, but it was entertaining and it was palatable, and I was drawn in.
By the end, I was just like,
fun.
I want to see it. I need to follow. It's like when I was finishing Supernatural. At no point in the latter, like, 5 seasons of Supernatural was I like, wow, this is a great show I'm watching. This is quality entertainment. I was like,
this is so good.
I have to see it through. Got to see it through, my boy.
Yeah. No. Oh, well, at least Regina didn't do anything wrong. Too bad she ended up alone. That is another modern tragedy.
Yeah. I think she ended up alone. Maybe they gave her a love. I don't remember, though. I really don't. But Regina, I think, is the end of our list. So.
Wow. We went through so many women who did nothing wrong.
Yep. Thank you guys for joining us in the chat and watching us talk about women who did nothing wrong. Yeah, I think Regina ended up with Robin Hood. She didn't end up with Emma. They didn't, like, not Regina ended up. No, Regina didn't end up. Like, I don't know if they brought it back. I know Emma ended up with Captain Hook, but I don't remember, like.
I don't remember shit.
And I'm not gonna look it up now. Well. Mm-mm. That's all we got. You have any last thoughts you would like to leave with the audience?
No, I think we went through all of them, and I think this was really healthy. Very like getting it all out. Like yes.
Notice a lot of parallels. Why writers hate women, I'm unsure.
Yeah, as we talked about it, I was like, yeah,
because like every single one is like, what did she do wrong?
She was strange.
Yeah, me and one of my friends use the phrase "diagnosed with women" when we're talking about media. Like, oh, this would be really great. Unfortunately, she was diagnosed with women, so
she's diagnosed. That's so good, actually. Wow. Yeah, they all had the same diagnosis.
Yeah. And
Yeah, I hate that they did all have a very common trope throughout all of, like, talking about it out loud. I'm like, wait, this is...
Like, it's literally the same thing over and over again. I've seen this film before. And I
think I've seen this one before.
Did not like the ending.
Didn't like the ending. Nope.
Okay. Well, I think we will sign off. I'm going to drop both of our links in the chat.
So, thanks for having me on.
Thank you for coming. I hope to have you on in the future. So maybe we'll do another version that's not this, but is like this. And hopefully technology will trust us. Or we'll work.
Yeah, that would be nice if everything, worked out.
Next Thursday is our next stream. The 7th. I think it's another TV tournament. I think it's another stream I won't be at. But Momo will be here. Heigl might be here. Bobby might be here. But yeah, thank you all for hanging tight. Don't be sure to follow, subscribe, do all that shit. Bye.
Bye, friends.